Welcome back to the Sick with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakeSig.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. It is episode 50, the milestone episode, and I am so thrilled to have two of my dearest friends in the world to join me. We first crossed paths together at Claire Entertainment back in November 2017. And even though we left that organization, our bonds became stronger, and they have gone on to do incredible things. So please help me welcome my dearest friends and two of the best women when it comes to journalism in the tri-state area, Elyse Johnson and Ashley Rushford.
Woo! Yes. Woo!
That was
so excited to be on this episode. Yes, it was. It really was.
I'm so honored.
Right, it was.
I feel like I done accomplished 15,000 things. Thanks, Jake.
Yes, thank you, Jacob.
You're so welcome. So, guys, we've just let you know these two women are very important to me because without them, I wouldn't survive the job that I got, and the bonds that we have thanks to our bonds of daytime talk shows and all of our gossip and everything and our love of music. So we are going to get to that later. But first, I want to let you guys introduce my audience to you guys by finding out, when did you both get interested in media, and how did that passion evolve into the desire to pursue a career in our industry?
Who's going first?
You want to go first, Elyse? I'll let you go first.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I've always I've been fascinated with media since I was a kid. You know, I was always starstruck with like celebrities and their backstories. So I think that from there, and also I was always into writing. I just at the time didn't know how to put two and two together as far as like how to make it into like actual career. So when I got into high school is when I started writing for a paper. And I, went from there as far as like with my love of writing into getting deeper into it and learning, okay, I can be like a journalist, I can get into media and actually studying it. So I would say I really pursued it wholeheartedly once I hit my early 20s. That's when I created my first blog. And I would just interview people, what they're into. A lot of young adults our age that were doing different things. I branched off and started talking about more pop culture stuff that we're interested in because I'm a pop culture nerd. I like pop culture. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess really journalism itself didn't really kind of become as important to me really until recently. Because I feel like the position I have now, even though it's like a freelance writing position, is giving me way more leeway and freedom, not only to write about the things I like, but also the way I want to write it. I feel like a lot of companies sometimes, and I understand like how they work, how they want you to write, how they want you to sell their stories. It's not easy when it comes to people like us that are very creative to stick within like that realm. So now I feel like I'm in a place where I actually really, really, really enjoy talking about things because it's not a lot of pressure to appease a certain audience or to appease a corporation. It's really like I can actually speak my mind while also reporting the facts and also having fun with it. So I would say the journey it was kind of weird because there have been times where I felt like I didn't want to do it because I felt it was too much pressure because of how other people write, how they report their stories, how they talk about celebrities, what they know, what they don't know. I didn't feel like I kind of fit. Now I feel like I'm in a place where I actually fit and I actually can write from a perspective of how I feel, what I believe to be true, my opinion. And now it's just more fun for me. So I will really say more so now is where I'm really passionate about journalism and media and the things that we talk about. Because now it's not pressured. It's really just fun for me. And it's long story short.
Okay, so it's my turn. I honestly, I definitely agree with Elyse, and I can relate to her. I feel like I was always into media. I was always into fashion and beauty and just like the complete lifestyle that surrounds media and journalism. I always watched people like Barbara Walters and Regis, and I always looked at like the Grammys and different award shows when I was younger. So that kind of always made me want to get into media in some form. I feel like from the time I was in middle school, like I knew I was going to do something in media, no matter if it pertained to writing, if it was like event planning. Like I just knew for sure like my career was going to surround that. So I've always kind of had an interest in it. And I definitely, like I said, I agree with what Elyse said. Like now it's become it's way more fun for me because funny story is, I actually do freelance writing for Essence magazine, and Essence is a Black magazine. They talk about pretty much everything: politics, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, anything you could think of is on the website. It's a one-stop shop for everyone. Like there's something on there for everybody. And I actually had an interview with Essence back in, I want to say, I think 2014 when I first graduated from college, and didn't get the position. I was so heartbroken. But come to find out, years later, I just decided to take literally a leap and a risk and go to New Orleans. And now here I am working with them. So I feel like it's just interesting how the universe works and how things are like just destined to happen for you, but maybe just at a different time. So I would say that, like, I've always kind of just been passionate about it. And as people know me, I've always been passionate and pretty much obsessed with like fashion and beauty and just doing things that I may do personally that could help someone else, and just offer those tips to people, whether it's in my articles that I write or on my website.
All righty, those are incredible answers, guys. So I want to jump ahead because I want to talk to you while we're talking about your this stuff. But I would love to talk about what is some of your most respected accomplishments that you're proud of the most.
Recent,
you want me to answer, or you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm still thinking. Go first, because is it recent stuff really?
It's anywhere between your recent, or to your most memorable milestone. Like, for example, for me, one of my best moments of my career was sitting down. If I remember, I've told you guys the stories about how I got online with 2 to 3 dozen other reporters and talking to Cyndi Lauper, Dolly Parton, and late Kenny Rogers. That remains an incredible thing. And also going to see American Ninja Warrior in Kansas City and covering that. And even going down to Los Angeles to cover one of the last episodes from CBS Studio Television Center for that were doing American Idol that was on Fox. So those, and currently starting a podcast. And right now, currently, I'm happy to say that we're at 1,180 total downloads.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's great. That's amazing.
Yes.
That is really good.
Thank you.
Okay. You want to go first?
I guess, yeah, if you want me to go first, I would say for sure, definitely getting the opportunity to work with Essence. Like sometimes when I am writing for them, even, like, it seems so surreal because I'm just like, this is a magazine I've always wanted to work with. It's a position that I got denied for at first, but now I'm working at. So it always is kind of like a full circle moment for me. But I would say that, and I would also say I guess I could put them into 2 separate things. Definitely getting the opportunity to go to LA and be a part of Ava DuVernay's event that she was doing with Reebok. And it was to highlight women in film. So I would definitely say that was like major, because just being in the same room as her, let alone like feet away from her. So she kind of is like the new generation's Oprah in a way to me, like kind of. So that was surreal. And I guess my recent interview that I did with an Instagram influencer, her name is Anaya Ivy. I met her 2 years ago, I want to say, at BeautyCon, which is an event in New York. And when just getting the chance to interview her and just taking that initiative on my own and getting that from my website was like a huge moment for me, because I'm just like, I'm just a regular person. So for her to want to sit down, even though we know each other personally now, but for her to want to sit down and give me an exclusive interview And on top of that, for me to be one of the only people that have interviewed her about her makeup line that she released, I would say that's a pretty big deal to me. So I would say those are like they're kind of recent, kind of within like the last 2 years. I would say those moments.
Definitely. I remember those moments too. I'm so proud of my friend. I would say a highlight for me was when I got to interview the actress Vanessa Williams. That was
Yeah.
definitely a big
that.
Yeah, that's why I was
that
like, yes.
and we were talking like we were the closest of friends. The fact that we were
Yeah.
talking like that, I was like, wow, like to this day I'm still shocked that that happened. So that definitely was like a big highlight for me. I would say recently, working for Gossip Cop has been a blessing, and also just it's been fun. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy working with different people, even though it's remotely. You know, it's still like good to just meet new people in our industry and actually like be able to talk with them and learn from them. So that definitely was a really big highlight that happened earlier this year. And I would say also recently, the release of my second book is a really
Yes, I was gonna be like, say that, please. Me and Jacob look like we both were waiting for you to say it.
Yes, we were.
We were patiently waiting.
Yep, you just okay. I'm sorry. Yes, the release of my second book honestly was because I would say the first one was a a great experience for me, but the second one for some reason, maybe because I had just turned 30, I just entered a new phase of my life. This whole thing, the pandemic happened, so that also inspired a
Yeah.
lot of my poems. Having to sit and actually reflect with myself, I just feel like the second book was just way more me and came
Mhm.
from a more open and vulnerable place just as a writer and also a woman. So I feel like that was really one of like the best moments I've ever had releasing that book, because it didn't feel like once again, like I didn't feel pressure. I just felt like this is my art. I'm actually sharing it with people, and the concern and the care about how people felt about it didn't matter to me at all. I was actually just more so proud that I created something that I actually was so happy to make. So I would say that was honestly like those were like the top like three highlights for me overall in my career so far. Oh guys, you
I'm
guys are
definitely
so
proud of you guys.
proud.
I'm proud of both of your accomplishments and your accomplishments that you are going to get continue. But however, we got to move on, because when we get together for our lunch, for our dinners, and for our meals and coffees, one of the things that we love to talk about is daytime talk. And because of the
Yes.
pandemic, there's been a lot of tea that's been spilled on the daytime talk show world. But however, we're going to start on a serious note, because one of our biggest mentors, Regis Philbin, passed away. Now, we did not have the privilege, but like, here's the thing: he was so personable, and even though he was even though we did not have a chance to meet face to face, we all, I think, everyone from our generation was influenced by him. And so, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
what are some of the lessons that that our generation can take away from Regis's legacy?
Um, hmm. Definitely how to be versatile in your career and how to do things effortlessly and from a distinguished point of view. When I saw Reaches on TV, that's how I thought of him, as someone that was just very distinguished and knew what he was doing. But obviously, he had the talent. Obviously, he had like the persona of a media personality. Like he had the package, but his work ethic is pretty much what I think is what people, especially people from our generation, should understand, because I think a lot of people have a misconception about media. They think that we just come on here and do whatever we want, just talk how we want to talk, and then that's it. But there's no work behind it. There's no sacrifice. There's no endurance. There are days where you just don't want to do it. So to have to actually put on a smile in front of thousands of people every single day, keep them entertained, talk about things that matter, go from doing one job to another job. Regis did like a lot of hosting. He didn't just do live with Regis and Kelly and live with Regis and Kathy Lee. He did like a lot
Right.
of stuff. And
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think
one thing a lot of people have forgotten too about him. I just wanted to make a quick point to bring that up, that he
that's
wasn't just
true.
a talk show host.
He
Like
was a
there was,
journalist at one point. He was an
yes, yeah,
actor. He did like, and that's why I think people don't understand with media. There's so much we can do. Like how we're all journalists at our core, but Jacob has a podcast. You're a fashion writer. You also have your own fashion site. I'm a poet. Like it's so many different things that you can do with your talent. And I think
right,
Regis was like the example of that. Like him, Alex Trebek, people who've been around for a long time, Pat Sajak that we've seen. We just think these people were on like daytime and nighttime TV when in reality they did like a lot of stuff. And Regis, a lot of people don't understand. He in fact like he influenced a lot of people who are now on TV, like the
right,
Kathy Lee, the Kelly Ripas, the Michael Strahans. They all idolized him. Whenever they say who's your idol, they say Regis Philbin. He
yeah,
paved the way.
yeah,
So I think that's something that this generation should take away from, especially ones that are in media. I know that media can get a little dramatic. You know, we can get like a little rambunctious with some stuff. And there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with like talking like how we talk, but there's also a way to like conduct stuff and have like interview people and tell certain stories. We don't have to be so raw. Like, you know, we can actually do it in a certain way where people feel comfortable. And I think even Oprah says she learned that from like Regis and Barbara and people who come before her, how to interview people in a way where they feel comfortable to speak to us. And I think that will actually help a lot of celebrities who don't want to share their stories in a sense.
right.
So I think that's definitely something we should take away from it.
Absolutely, and he will be missed. So speaking of being missed, we got to talk about one of our favorite ladies, Wendy Williams. The three of us fought in our workplace saying when we had a big hot topic story and Wendy was going to be a hot topic, we all had to play rock, paper, scissors to play who's covering Wendy today.
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh, what stories. Like we it was so much that happened with Wendy, just herself. It was like we were working at Clear Entertainment, like pretty much at like the highlight of everything that happened. Not only just with Wendy,
Yeah.
like it was a lot of stuff that happened that year for some reason, and we were there having to cover it. People don't understand. Like I said, media is a lot of work. It's hard.
it
Yeah,
is.
definitely. It is.
It is,
It's
but we
hard.
got to get back to Wendy because September 21st, she's returning to her studio. But however, here's the thing: Wendy at home stopped during the middle of filming during very crucial months that she and her staff should have been on the air to reassure and to calm or to inspire people. So, in your humble opinion, did Wendy and her staff miss opportunities to comment on those current events and hot topics?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that, well, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I kind of feel like at least you guys would agree with me. I think there's a lot of things that have happened that we would have wanted to get Wendy's perspective and opinion on. So I kind of think, like, definitely she missed, and she always added like a highlight to your day type of thing. Like if you watched her, because it was always a funny moment, and her commentary is like unmatched. So I think definitely it would have been nice to see her maybe at least cover some stuff up until now, like just to see, and then maybe take a break for this month. But it would have been nice to, just get her perspective and opinion on things.
Yeah. It would have been nice, especially with oh gosh, with like the most recent stuff with Kim Kardashian and Kanye
Oh
West.
yeah,
She would have had a field day.
yes, yes,
Yes.
I totally completely forgot about that for a moment.
Yeah.
For a second, yeah, that would have been nice to get her commentary on for sure and see what she thought
Yeah.
about that.
Because she would have had like she
A
would have had a
field day
hoot,
with that.
a field
Well, I
day.
mean, now she's isn't she like somewhat close or friends with the family? So maybe her opinion would be different, like
Yeah,
as
but
Yeah, it
opposed
might be
to
too.
before.
also at the same time, she could have said, Chris, do you want to come on my platform and address this?
Yeah, that's
Do you
true.
want to come on
Right,
my
right.
platform and address this? Kim,
Yeah,
definitely need to come on my platform to address this. Like, there's only very few people that the Kardashian Jenners trust, and
Right,
their
right.
platform. And I think if they want to speak, and a lot of the Kardashian fans watch Wendy.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that would honestly be cool if like her first like the first week she has like one of them come on there, or just has like an actual quote from one of them about what's been going on with like Kanye. So, and if he is indeed running for president, not only will Wendy cover it, but like the View's gonna like a lot of people are gonna be covering this. But I think Wendy, if you notice one of the people she's really close to, she's very careful what she says, or she'll sit there and she'll be like,
yeah, that's what I
I'm
was
not
saying. Right.
Yeah,
she's just like, nope, I'm not touching it. But I guess we'll have to see. But I don't know, because I know that she's just in a different place now. I think before, when she was working, she just didn't have the same type of love for it. I think now when she actually does it, like before she took her little break, she actually was enjoying doing the show again. So I think that's like more important than like her talking about the stuff right now, because she's going to talk about it regardless. Like she's going to really take
I'm sure when she comes back in September, she's going to touch. She usually does, I think. Like usually just touches on, because this stuff is still going to be current weeks from now.
And we don't know what's going to happen in September. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, and also sorry to interrupt, but also the chance to see her. Like, I remember when the audience was gone because of COVID, and it's just her staff. I loved seeing the energy from her staff, and like we picked up Rob. There was Michael Lee. We picked out. There was we had Suzanne still there. We had all the people. We had all the people, the regulars that we were attempting. Even Sunshine, of course, was up in the top. So we got to see the staff, because I can't think of a show that has a daytime talk show that has that many staff members that we can recognize. And I just hope that Wendy can deliver, and I hope that she comes in prepared, and I hope that she picks up, like you said, a killer lineup of guests. It's going because it could be one incredible start to the season for her.
I think it's going to be pretty good. She's had some pretty good people when she was on when quarantine started. So I think she's going to have some pretty good people. Hopefully this time we get the Kris Jenner interview that we've been waiting like 3 years for. Speaking it into existence. Hopefully, like, that really does happen. It would be really crazy if she'd be one of the first guests, like, of the first week that she's back. So, but I think either way, regardless of who she has, it's going to be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
If we should make a pact right now, if Kris Jenner or any Kardashian sets foot on that stage, we have to all like immediately like just FaceTime each other, call each other, like just for that one interview and talk about it, because I think we deserve this. We've been waiting for this for a very long time as diehard Wendy fans. And
Right.
Very invested. Like, so I think we should make this pact right now. How do we find out whenever it comes out if a Jenner or Kardashian goes on there? We are going to be 10 o'clock in the morning. I want everybody to be prepared. Like, we'll be on the phone watching it. Like, you know.
All right. So I know there's one show that you guys normally cover that I don't, and it's The Real. But however, they have gone through a crazy cycle. They brought in Amanda Seales, and that didn't work out. Then she left. Now, original host Tamra Mowry is out as well. The biggest question is, can Lonnie, Jeannie, and Adrian handle the show on their own, or is the show on its final legs?
I think it's on the final legs. I think I don't want to say that, but because you saw my face, like I'm not just like, yeah, it's over. I'm like, I think it is only because I'm just like, oh, like it's like I feel like it is, but then I don't know. Well, my thoughts with this is kind of all over the place, because I definitely think there's some underlying issue that is going on there, or that has been going on there, like pretty much ever since they let Tamar go. So something is definitely not right there. I don't know what it is. And I think it's very odd that like literally shortly after Amanda leaves, Tamara leaves. And Tamara does play a pretty huge role in the show. I mean, there's a lot of people that are fans of Tia and Tamara. So to see Tamara on a talk show and even just the energy and personality that she brings to any room that she's in, I think that's definitely going to be missed, like with the talk show. So I don't know. I kind of personally feel like it might be the end. I don't want it to be. That's why
I
I'm kind
don't
of just
either.
like, I don't really want it to be because they have pretty good people. They had a good momentum going even prior to Amanda getting on. So I don't know.
That's
I
what
kind of feel like it might be
it's like
over
we
a
don't want to.
little.
It's like we don't want to say
They,
it, but it's
I'm
like
not speaking that into existence because I don't
I
want that.
don't no,
Yeah.
but I just
They
because
bring a good energy and vibe, especially for the new generation. Because there's a lot of people on there that are like young actors that they interview and just like different things that they do that I think is really good for our generation and the new generation. So yeah, I don't want to see them go, but I just personally feel like it might be about that time.
I I don't want to say it either. I'm like, but it's because remember because me and Ashley we talked about this. Remember how it was when Tamar left, how we had to really get used to like the four of them, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like it wasn't hard because they honestly were good. Like, when it was just the four of them, it was good, and when they did have like the
Yeah, it was
guest host,
fine.
it was fine. And then when they had people
Yeah,
come in and
it
just
worked.
it
Yeah.
worked. So that's why even when they brought in Amanda, I saw what they were trying to do. I saw what they were trying
Yes.
to like, where they were trying to go with stuff. But we did call that. We said that maybe that might not be for Amanda because she's like her own category. She's like a Wendy. Like I can't see Amanda like with other people. Like she needs to be kind of like to me like on her own.
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah. And sometimes
Tamara,
people that are really outspoken to don't really mesh well with other people. So
no, like
not
because like Tamara.
outspoken. She's not outspoken in a bad way.
No, she's outspoken. Just she just has. First of all, she comes from a different background. She's very militant. She's very political. That's why,
Yeah.
honestly, I thought that she honestly would be a good fit on the View because she more so would fit that type of dynamic where they're talking about like real issues that
Right. Right.
all on that show, like on the View, they're all kind of like if they're not somewhat like of an activist, they have some sort of like political background. Like everyone on
Right.
that show, even the actress, she's some sort of like a political advocate. So she knows what she's talking about. The Real was
Yeah.
meant for like, lifestyle, gossipy topics, you know. So it's not
Yeah.
that the three
Current events and like pop
yeah,
culture and yeah.
yeah, like stuff we talk about. So it's not that
Right.
they can't hold their own, but it's like you said, like first of all, I started off with like the five of them, and even the five of them to me was perfect. So then
Yeah.
it goes to
Yeah.
four, and it's like okay, it's still perfect because you have still a different type of woman on the show. Now
Yeah.
it's like, and I think also too because all of them are kind of doing their own thing. That's why I'm just like I don't know because I know Tamara was doing something on her own anyways. Adrian has her jewelry that she's into now, and then she has her like YouTube show. Jeannie has her like podcast. Lonnie has a book out, and she's getting back into comedy. So it's like I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I do think the whole Tamara exit was kind of weird. Even how when it came out, no one really said anything. They all
Yeah,
said
yeah,
something like,
that's what we had pointed out too. Like no one made like any comments as
you know,
far as why her departure was just so
yeah,
quick,
it was like
like
so.
literally quick. Like it just happened. It was like, okay, Amanda left. A couple days later, yeah, Tamara's leaving too. And I was like, wow, what
Are we allowed?
what happened?
Are we allowed to spill tea on here without getting in trouble?
Yes, let me just get clarified. So, all the shows that we are talking about, the three of us are not affiliated with any of their companies. That's right.
Right.
We're not affiliated with Disney and ABC. We're not affiliated with Lionsgate and Fox. We're not affiliated with The View. We're not affiliated with NBC Universal, and we're not and Warner Media. So we are not affiliates of any. So please
Nope.
take it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Okay.
At least you still said that you can spill tea.
Yes. Okay. So, it was just something we spoke about where I work at that Tamara may have left because they I don't I'm trying to figure out the right way to say it, like lessened her amount that she makes. It was something
Oh,
similar to
okay.
like with TMR, that whole situation, like where you know how each person gets paid. You know, everybody has their own contracts. You know,
Right.
even when you're working at a news publication, like how we worked at Claire Entertainment, we all had like our own, like however much we all made, depending on what our role was, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I want to actually bring it to you guys' attention to ask you guys, do you think it's fair if that's the case? I think that was probably one of the reasons why she made it. Because Tamara does have a family, you know, not that she's you know, in a bad position, but she has a family, she has other things that she's doing. Do you guys feel like, whether it's true or not, do you feel like that's fair? Um, that they may have tried to like make it equal among all the girls on the show by taking away from someone else's paycheck to make it to where everyone's getting paid like the same amount. Do you think that's fair? And do you think that if that's the case, if that is why Tamara left, do you think that she's justified for doing it in a sense?
Well, here's the thing: is I'm not familiar with the real. I don't cover the real. But however, the thing is, did all four of them have executive producer or producer credentials?
No, only person actually, that's the interesting thing. That was, I think, the executive producer was Tamar's ex-husband, if I'm not mistaken. So none
Okay.
of them, like that, like how Wendy's like the executive producer for show. None of them, I don't believe, is like a producer, or none of them are putting their money into the show. They all came on as hosts. So I believe that whatever their negotiations were as far as like their contracts, is, you know, is that's amongst them, or that's whatever the person worked out with their agent, whatever the case may be. So that's why I don't think Tamara was like a producer, you know, like a co-owner or anything of that nature. I think she's just
Yeah,
a host, but I don't know. It was rumored that she got paid more.
I
So
think
that's what, is it like, you think it's fair that if they decided, well, since we're going to have just the four of you on here, we're going to make it equal for everybody, and you know they're taking from someone else's paycheck and making it to where everyone gets paid the same amount? Or do you feel like that's still like something that should be talked about? Because since like it's like how we all work together at Clear Entertainment, it's the same. It's
Right.
like a similar situation.
mhm,
Like if one of us got paid like a little bit more than the other person, and they decided, well, you all are reporters, so you're all gonna get paid the same amount. So they took from, like, say for example, Jacob's paycheck, and we all got paid like the same amount, and he decided to leave. Is that fair? Does he, like, are you justified for doing it, or do you feel that, you know, maybe she just jumped the gun too quickly? Like, what, you know?
I think she jumped the gun too quickly. I think she must have been.
Mm,
I understand that she is a household name. Tamara Mowry is a household name. We all saw her on Sister Sister. She's from the
Right.
90s and beyond. We all remember Lonnie from Star Search and the 2000
mm-hmm,
the Arsenio Hall one. And we also saw
mm-hmm.
that Jeannie and Adrian were also products of the 2000s. So I understand that she has been around longer, so she can get paid. It's like, but however, if she was the moderator, I understand it, because that's what Whoopi does. Like if we're talking about The View,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like with The View and longevity, that would probably be Whoopi would be higher than the
Mm-hmm.
higher of all four of them, but then Joy would be next because she's been on there the longest.
Yes,
So
like,
like
see, that's what I mean. Everyone knows Whoopi probably gets, like, because she negotiated where, okay, she has Fridays off, or she takes off whenever day she wants to take off. She gets paid a certain amount of money. You know, that's, you know, because, but Whoopi's like the moderator. I thought with the real, I know you don't really watch it, Jacob, but if you watch it, to me, Lonnie Love.
yeah,
I
I
kind of
was
felt like Lonnie
thinking
Love
about
was like the
that.
yeah. I feel like Lonnie Love was like the moderator. So that's why I feel like I don't know, because you, that part of it, I don't know like how much each of them are getting paid like specifically. I just know that was like one of the reasons why Tamara may have like stepped down or decided to just leave. But
Hmm.
like the she's not the one that, like, okay, starts to show off in a sense.
Yeah.
I always kind of just felt like even before it started, it was always Lonnie Love because she was like the oldest.
Yeah, I think, and
So
also not to mention that while Lonnie tried hard, like I think she has. If you look at her backgrounds, road comic and Star Search happened, and boom, she blossomed. Like we didn't hear a lot
mhm,
about Tamara and after Sister Sister ended. We heard bits and pieces when they did Smart Guy with Taji as well, but we didn't see her. Lonnie, on the other hand, we knew about what was going on with her. I think of all four of them, the biggest skyrocket fame of all of them is Lonnie. And I think Lonnie deserves a map. I don't know if it's alleged. I'm got to throw alleged in there.
Alleged.
Yeah, alleged tempers or something like that. But at the same time, if you don't have either, or you're not putting your money back into the show, or if you're not a moderator or like have more responsibilities, like basically moderating the conversation, or if you've been there the longest, you should not receive a pay upgrade unless you have taken on additional responsibilities. Ashley, what do you think before we wrap this up and talk about The View?
I kind of don't think that's fair, because I'm like, if you all, like, say for example, they're all talk show hosts, so I don't think that like one person needs to be getting paid more than the other. Like, I could see if maybe they play different roles, like maybe if one of them was a director or a producer or something, like literally had something else along with the title of a talk show host, then yeah, of course they're entitled to more pay. Like, they're doing double the work, maybe even triple the work. But as far as you all like just coming together to sit at a table, you're all doing the same thing, you're all playing the same roles, you're all putting in the same amount of hours and work and everything, I kind of think that they should be paid the same amount. Like, I don't think it should be different. And then you don't want any of your colleagues or anything, or even other co-hosts, to feel as though like, oh, okay, so they're worth more money because they're getting this amount of dollars and I'm only getting such and such, and I'm doing just as much as they are, if not maybe a little bit more, depending on how much time and effort I put into just pretty much what goes into producing the show and bringing content and stuff like that. So yeah, I never really thought that was fair, like, to do something like that. That's just me. And I know it's a very uncomfortable conversation. I mean, I'm glad we're having it, because this is what we do. Like, any of us could potentially lead to becoming talk show hosts or a co-host or a radio host or anything like that. So it is kind of like, I don't think it's fair. I think everybody should be treated fairly and equally as far as pay goes.
All righty, so we got to talk about another show that we fought over covering over at Claire Entertainment, and that was The View. So over the past few seasons, we've all saw The View, how it's transformed into a political powerhouse of the daytime TV show. And now with the presidential election heating up, how do you see The View play a role in the upcoming election? And also, what happens to the show after the election is over?
I think The View is going to play a major role. Like, it's going to be huge. I think people are going to be monitoring The View like they monitor the news. Honestly. Like, I really do, because I think a lot of people are going to depend on their perspective on just everything that's going on. And I think it's fair to say depend, because a lot of people, even now, like, even though everything is virtually, they still kind of want to see, like, what's their stance on everything that's going on with the virus and everything that Trump is doing as far as his rallies and just all of that stuff. So I think that it's going to play a major role. And I think it's going to play an even bigger role after the election, because it's all about the election, of course, is huge. Like, it's big, but then it's like, okay, once it's over, it's now the new life that starts, and the process of getting adjusted to a new president and seeing like what moves they're going to make is really more important next, because it's like, okay, they're in this position now, what are they going to do? That's the next thing. So I think The View is going to be huge. It's going to be very huge. Very big.
I don't know if you guys are like really into politics like that. I know with me,
I wouldn't say I am. I mean, I monitor it, like, because of course I want to know like what's going on and be informed. But I wouldn't say like I'm a huge like politics person. Like,
That's what I
where
used to
my
view.
life revolves around. No, I wouldn't say that.
For
That's
me,
what I
Just being honest.
thank you, actually. But for me, The View is a daytime show that I watch religiously. In their no matter if it's podcast or not, because the thing is, if it's on The View, it's going to, frankly, it could be picked up by other shows. Like, for example, Entertainment at ET Canada has also talked about, have also featured The View heavily as well. So, and also even John Oliver actually took a page out of The View's book during one of his last episodes. So I gotta say, The View is of all the is probably one of the most important talk shows on daytime television right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was saying about it playing like a major role. I think it's gonna become very, very important, like as September rolls around in October, like as the time kind of ticks down to that moment, I think it's going to be very important. And I think even throughout the beginning of 2021, it's going to be very huge. Like a lot of people are going to literally depend and watch it to see what everybody has to say and what their take is, especially if Trump gets elected for another term. I don't want to say that, but that's the truth. That is definitely, like, if he does, it's really gonna, no matter what, like, I think it's gonna, a lot of people are gonna be tuned in and watching, but that will really take it up to another notch if he does.
I think right now we gotta talk about two very important ladies that have had success with daytime. They're brand new, and they both have had two phenomenal freshman seasons. They're back for their sophomore round. We're talking about Tamron Hall and Kelly Clarkson because they made huge impacts on a daytime television world. When I was telling everybody offline a couple months ago when I saw Tamron Hall with the New York Emmys. Tamron reminded me of early Oprah, of the very early tell that something's happened. And I think Tamron has done a phenomenal job with her shows at home. And also same with Kelly Clarkson. And talk about that she won an Emmy for entertainment host. That's kind of big. So what are the similarities and differences between these two hosts? Because in all honesty, I believe there's room for both of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I kind of think that I could see why quickly, because it just came in my mind, so I'll just say it. Since you said that Tamron reminds you of a early Oprah, like at the beginning stages of her career, I think it's because she kind of has like a certain niche about her, like niche. And I also think that she is like, I feel like she gets really personable with her audience and viewers in a way. So I think Kelly Clarkson does too, but in a different way, which kind of makes them a little different. Like, to me, that's just as an outsider looking in. But I think Tamron does a great job at like really being personable, making people comfortable, really being relatable too, because she doesn't like, she is who she is, basically. Like, she's a mom, she does the talk show, like she really gets like very close with whoever she's interacting with. So I think, not that Kelly doesn't, but it's just like in a different way to me. But I mean, they both do too, come from two different worlds. So it's not like Tamron is an entertainer. She's totally different. I don't know. What do you think, Elyse?
I would say the same thing. I wouldn't say
like it's something, I can't think of a way, but that's like the only way I kind of could describe it. Because that's why when Jacob said of an early Oprah, I was like, yeah, that I could see that 100%. Like, I could totally see why you say that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The same thing. Like Tamron does remind me of Oprah. I think with Kelly, it's like you said, it's entertainment because, well, she comes off very bubbly anyways. Like, she's just very like a nice person, and I think she's also personable in a sense.
Yes, she has a really like certain down to earth factor about her that like you can automatically relate to her, even if you're meeting her. Like, if one of us met her, I'm sure, and had a conversation with her, we could definitely leave the conversation saying like, oh wow, felt like I was just talking to like a friend or someone I've known for such a long time.
And here's the thing about when I visited Tamron, my second go around, she remembered our group. She remembered the Emmys group. And I said, I'm so happy to see you at Tamron. She said, we're so happy that you guys came back. And that meant a lot to us because the thing is, I think Tamron is turning into ABC's. I'm going to make a prediction. Tamron Hall is going to be one of the most important people in ABC coming up in the future, in the second.
Yeah. Does she start in September too for her second?
Yeah, I think everybody's starting in September. And speaking of September, we got to talk about one of the biggest talk shows that has had the biggest fall from grace we've ever seen in a period of months. I'm talking about the Ellen DeGeneres Show. Because the coronavirus pandemic has shined a harsh spotlight.
Is this Elyse shaking her head as soon as you said Ellen?
Because
both.
Yeah.
All right, so let me continue. Guys, let me just explain the question. Both BuzzFeed News and Us Weekly have revealed that there's an allegedly toxic and unhappy work environment. And also, I just saw today that Variety reported that Warner Media is currently working on an investigation as several key production members are getting back in the studio for the first time since the whole pandemic started for the 2021 season. So how do these scandals will affect the show's legacy and Ellen's future?
Elyse, you want to take that one first?
I didn't mean to shake my head. It was just, I was like, because we you know how like we used to talk about this all the time. Like we were like, oh, we're gonna go to the Ellen DeGeneres show. We're gonna make a trip to California. We were so looking forward to it. And of course, what happens when you're in an audience doesn't it's not the same what happens backstage. And everyone has bad days. Like you're not gonna always get along with like your employers and like your coworkers. Like things like that just happen. But I guess the reason why it's kind of sad is because Ellen is similar to like Lonnie Love, like they're like a backstory, like how they rose from like struggling comedians to now they're on talk shows. But Ellen's reputation was the fact that she was so generous and giving and such a nice person. And she can't be responsible for like everybody. That's not the point. But I guess the problem people are having is that she kind of is making it seem like she's not aware of what's going on backstage while she's like, you know, up front on camera doing what she does. And it's like if your show has been running for like years, just like with Wendy, like Wendy knows her staff. You know your staff, you know who works for you, you know what goes on. I know that you're not going to always have the time to like figure it out, but you're aware of these things. So it's like I think it's going to be hard for Ellen to come back from this because her legacy has been built on her being so nice, so generous, so thoughtful, so giving, so accepting, so comforting for people. Now people are going to see her in a different light, and it's kind of like she's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if she says something, she's in trouble. She doesn't say something, she's in trouble. And whether the investigation comes out that it's true, it's just gonna make it so like honestly, what can like where can she go from here? What can she really do? It's sad because a lot of people look up to Ellen. A lot of people liked her personality, the fact that she was just open and free and caring and just a good person. So now it just kind of makes it look like she's not that person, which isn't fair. But at the same time, if that's what's going on, there's nothing like it's just like if Wendy Williams was under fire, like what could we do? But
I think this happens because the thing is, I think we hold a lot of our media figures in higher standards.
Oh yeah,
very high standards, very very high standards, and if they are under the eyes of almost 5 million eyes, 5 million sets of eyes. Literally. And if you're talking someone like Ellen, which is globally, that's 150 million eyes. So unfortunately, I think the show got way too big for her to look at that. Like we've already seen, we see for example, Wendy. We see Wendy talking with Suzanne, or talking with Norman, or talking with can't remember. I'm sorry. I love the Wendy staff, and I can't. And then Marcus Glorious,
Oh, Marcus G.
Marcus G, and then also Suzanne's husband.
Oh yes, the one with the cameraman. He's
Kevin, not Kevin.
No, the one. Well, yeah, the one who was like one of her main cameramen.
Yeah.
Like we first come in to see him.
Yeah. And also the Silver Fox.
Yes, Silver Fox.
So we see that, and we know about their stories, and we see that, and even Joni too. We know all about them, and we know if they're, and we can feel if their moods. Like when we've been there, how many times together?
3, 2.
3. I think in those 3 times we knew that and that machine. We knew how they roiled. We knew who had their jobs, and we knew that Wendy, even though she didn't have that much time, she cared about every single experience of that audience. Ellen, what I'm concerned about is, if those stories are true, then how come she didn't step in sooner?
Yeah, that was my thought.
That's why I'm like,
I was thinking the same thing. Like when the news broke about all of this in the beginning, like why didn't this get handled like prior to all of this, especially prior to the pandemic starting, like and all that. So yeah, I don't. With this one, I don't really know what to make of it. I kind of like I'm not on any side. Like I'm kind of just in the middle of it because it's like, I see. I obviously see like where both of you are coming from, and I definitely I agree with Jacob too. Like it's kind of just like we have to be mindful of the fact that these celebrities and people that are in media, they are human too. Mm-hmm. Like things happen. I will always stand on the fact of like you should always respect everybody and treat everybody well, like the same way you want to be treated. But we do have to be mindful that they're human too. They're not robots. Like they do take on a lot of stuff outside of just doing what they do. Like I'm sure even to produce Ellen's show in itself is just a ton of work. Like it's a lot that goes into it that I think a lot of people forget to realize and kind of just like throw that in the back of their mind. So yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of it all. I don't really know like what to say or how to feel because Ellen is somebody too that we've grown up on. Like she's been around for years, and I mean she's been around even a decent amount of time right now for the new generation that is coming up that may, whether they are into media or not. So but yeah, I don't know with this one. I don't know what to say or how to feel.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And I think that we gotta look is keep the investigation rolling and then see what happens.
Yeah.
But however, I gotta lighten the tone because it is the 50th episode of the podcast.
Yes.
You gotta lighten up.
Yes, first of all,
the thing is, Elyse, this will be you. Earlier, you talked about you releasing your second book, so congratulations!
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
So but however, I have a little treat for everyone. Elyse has picked out a poem that she wants to read to showcase her work, and this is from the first one, correct?
Yes, this is from Limitless, my first book.
Alrighty. So before we get into the reading, when did you get interested in poetry?
I will honestly say last year, last July. So yeah, it's been a year. Because I've always, been a writer, but poetry is like a little different as far as storytelling in a sense. So I don't know, I started writing poems just to express myself, to get certain thoughts down. And it went from there where I would just write poems every day. And I guess I developed like a new love for it as another passion of mine as a writer. So poetry definitely has been, if not like therapeutic, it's also been just very helpful for me. So it lets me see that I can also create in different ways, not just as a journalist, not just as like a a regular novel writer, like I could write a story within like a couple of sentences and share my experiences with people in a different way. So, but it's been like about a year since I've been a poet, in a sense.
Awesome. So, what is the poem that you are going to read for our audience?
The poem I'm gonna read for you guys today is titled Rose. And like I said, it's from my first book, Limitless. I wrote this poem. Are you guys familiar with the book, The Da Vinci Code?
Yes.
Yes.
So, the Da Vinci Code, it talks a lot about, religion, symbolism, but
Mhm.
mainly like women in a sense, and how women are very powerful and are placed pretty much in the world. And they do use like a rose a lot in the book as far as like symbolism. So when I wrote this poem, I thought about the book and I thought about how a lot of people, particularly women, were like roses. We bloom a certain way. We have to treat ourselves a certain way. We care for ourselves a certain way. So that's kind of the inspiration behind this poem. And it was actually one of like my first poems that I wrote in general. So
Awesome.
that's why I picked it.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, Elyse Johnson with Rose.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. I have searched for you, my rose of life. I have looked for your beauty. I have yearned for your light. You were stolen away. You were shunned and ashamed. Yet you still continue to bloom, wild and untamed. Nobody knows your true nature, how much power you actually possess, the secrets you hold, the sorrow of your distress. Your story lives on forever. We will honor your name. You will forever be a rose, giver of life, beauty untamed. Thank you.
Yay. Or please
Thank you.
snap rather.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elyse. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. It's definitely going to be through that. So now that we have Elyse, Ashley, in addition to your work at Essence, you have also launched your own lifestyle blog, Sostylash,
Yes.
fashion, beauty, lifestyle. So what have been some of your favorite items that you like to post about?
Yes.
I don't want to say used to, but I love writing about personal things because I've noticed like my views and traffic is crazy when I talk about like products that I'm using or things that I like. Even when I discuss juicing, if people are or are not subscribed to my website, I did do a 10-day juice challenge back in 2018, and ever since I started doing that, I've been getting like um crazy amount of questions and just like responses on Instagram about like why I got into it and where do I come up with the recipes. So I would say talking about personal things, but as of lately it would be interviews. And I guess pretty much talking about things in fashion that a lot of people aren't covering that are pretty big. Like I just recently wrote an article about Winnie Harlow collaborating with Puma. Winnie Harlow's a model, and she collaborated with Puma on a new sneaker. So certain things that do pop up in pop culture and stuff, I do like to write about. But I would probably say my favorite now has been doing interviews and connecting with people because I feel like there's a lot of influencers, there's a lot of creatives just in general on social media that a lot of people don't know about, and even creatives that like I've purchased things from, and I want other people to know about them. Like they need a chance to have some spotlight. I have an interview coming hopefully very soon that I'm really excited about. So I would say that those are my favorite things to talk about on there.
Yay.
Yes. All righty, guys. This is our third to last question. So, what are some of your favorite social media platforms that you love to work on? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So, what Snapchat, TikTok? What are your favorite and why?
Hmm.
Do you use TikTok? I don't use
I
TikTok.
don't have TikTok.
I'm like,
I don't know
I
if
will use
I'll get on
TikTok.
TikTok. I probably would get on like one of my younger cousins' TikTok. If maybe. I'll say maybe because I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
guess maybe I'll go first. I like, my favorite would probably be Pinterest, Instagram, and I would say Twitter. I love them all for different reasons. Like for me, Twitter is really good to get reactions and responses to things that are happening currently. So I love to go in there and see like what people's thoughts are, whether it's on politics, whether it's on pop culture. It doesn't matter what it pertains to. I always love to read what people are tweeting about, and I think it's so cool that I mean, of course, social media is totally about like things happening in that moment, but it's just cool to see like, okay, this person thought about this right at this second and they're tweeting that, like that's their thoughts. So I like Twitter for that reason. I love Pinterest for inspiration, hands down. Anything you need inspiration on or just want like some ideas and stuff, Pinterest is excellent for that. And I think a lot of people sleep on Pinterest. It's so good, like for home decor, for anything, like literally anything you need. Even if Pinterest offers a bunch of writing tips too that a lot of people may not know about. So if you're in journalism or even in media and you want like help with a content calendar, or you just want like some type of motivation to get you going, Pinterest is great for that. And Instagram, I like to tell people I like Instagram pretty much just for fashion and fitness. I love seeing what people are wearing on Instagram, who is releasing a new clothing line, and also too just getting workout ideas. Because there's a lot of different things that people put on Instagram that I think is really cool. And there's so many things you could do on Instagram that I think a lot of people don't really use it to their advantage for, other than just like it's more to it than just scrolling and looking. Especially now, I think they just added some new features to Instagram, like this week or something.
Reels to actually take on TikTok.
Yes, yep. That's one of them. Yeah, they added a couple of other things too, I think. So I like those for those reasons. I just wanted to share that just in case a lot of people don't use them for certain things.
Yeah.
All right, Elyse, you're up.
I would say Twitter, definitely Twitter, because Twitter is hilarious. If I need to laugh or if I need to like, even if I'm just like posting my own tweets, I would literally use Twitter just for like a good chuckle, because I don't know, Twitter's just more like people are just free on it. They just talk how they want to talk, and you know,
yeah, definitely entertaining.
They're very engaging. But I think,
you know what, too, with Twitter, it's good that you can get like quick news. That's what I think I like about it too.
I agree.
Like it's just there, like it's completely accessible. Like you don't have to really go looking for it.
Yeah, if you want to learn something really quick or see what's going on with something really quick, Twitter is a place.
It's the place. Yeah.
Yep. Just stay on Twitter.
That's how I stay on Twitter when the Big Brother season is currently going on.
Yep,
There are accounts that I look up for because I don't do live feeds. Thank God for Twitter for that. So anyway, this is our second to last question. If you had the opportunity to meet with aspiring journalists or journalists who want to take their careers to the next level in the media industry, what advice would you share with them?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Should I go first, or do you want to go first, Liz?
You go first. Speak.
Okay. Immediately, the first thing that popped in my mind is not to give up. Like, it's a very competitive field. It does take a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, honestly, that goes into this. And I think a lot of people don't think about that or realize that, because some people focus more on like the glamorous side of journalism and media. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It's so much work. So I would definitely say don't give up for sure. Like, whatever you want to do, no matter how many people are doing it, just do it. Like, just do not think for a second of like, oh, should I question if I don't want this? Because at the last second, you may get an opportunity, or things could take off for you in your career, whether you have your own platform of followers and you're trying to do something in that sense. But I would say don't give up. Definitely be authentic. Don't feel like you have to be anybody else. Be yourself completely, because somebody's going to love you. Like, there's going to be, of course, people that may not agree with you, and may not even like you, but there's gonna be a lot of other people that will, and will have a lot of respect for you for being your just true to who you are and not change it.
I agree with that statement.
I do too. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um,
I would say those two things.
yeah, I would piggyback off of what Ashley said. Definitely don't give up because journalism is a lot tougher and a lot more competitive than people think. Um, as much fun as we've had with it, and we still will have with it because we're creators, like just in general. Like I said, there are days where you just don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
You mentally you're drained. You get tired of reporting about, sad news and
Mhm.
stories that kind of break your heart. Just like you said earlier, Ashley, these celebrities, yeah, they're celebrities, but they're also people. So some
Oh
of them
yeah.
go
Yep.
Mhm.
they go through certain things and you can relate to it sometimes. So even as a writer, we don't want to, but we sometimes do take on like that that empathy we feel for them. So
Hmm.
it could become a lot. It could become very stressful. It become very deterring at times. There are times where you may not get opportunities in your field because it's so competitive. It's like everyone's trying to do it, and you have to compete with like a million different people, a million different
Right.
blogs, a million different like social media influence. It's like a lot that goes into it, but it really does come down to not giving up and standing your ground and understanding that if you really want this and you're really passionate about it, you have to put the work in. There's no excuse. You have
Yeah.
to like
Definitely.
you have to make the sacrifice because honestly, that's the only way you're
Yeah.
going to get to. It's the only way you're going to really get to where you want to go, to where you get that actual freedom as a writer to do what it is that you want to do. So in a sense, it's
Yeah.
like don't be afraid to fail. In a sense, think of it as failing forward. Fail your way to
Yeah.
success. So you learn from your mistakes. You can continue to build your repertoire and your your um your strength in it. You just continue to build off of what it is that you want to do and just keep going. I know we say it all the time. I know sometimes it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. You really just have to keep going. If anything, all of us
Yeah.
really had like we had to keep going. We couldn't
I
stop.
think one more point I want to make too, as you say that, is also too. I think like this piece of advice a lot of people that are in media and journalism don't really give, but I think a lot of people, especially now, like since social media is like such a huge factor now, is to pay, like, just worry about yourself, pay attention to you, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Their path is their path, yours will be yours. Like, whether if you're just somebody that graduated college and you haven't gotten the dream internship that you want, there could be another internship. Like, say for example, you want an internship with CBS, but you don't get that, and you get an internship with a smaller media company. You never know what interning at that smaller media company could do for your career.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after that, your career could just accelerate into something even bigger than CBS. Like, it could put, you could really end up on a certain path that was always destined to lead you to greatness. And I think that's something I would have wanted somebody to tell me, because I think sometimes
Yes.
with journalism, you worry too much about, like, oh, why isn't this happening to me? Or why is this happening to me? And why am I not getting to where I need to be or where I want to be at? And everybody's path is their own. So I think it's always best to just focus on you and worry about you and do the things that you have to do to get you to where you want to be.
Definitely.
I totally agree with that. So, guys, now where can my audience connect with you on social? And Elyse, where can they buy those books?
Okay. Both of my books are available on Amazon, paperback and Kindle. So definitely type in Fearless. That's my second book. The first book is Limitless. So type in Limitless and Fearless and type in my name. It's Elyse Johnson, Elyse Johnson, and I should pop up hopefully. But definitely you guys can go there. But on social media, I have the link in my bio, so people can also visit my social media to get more information on my books. My social media handle for Twitter and Instagram is at LEJ, and that's at ELLYYY, the letter JAYYY. So follow me, guys. Check us out. We're dope people. We do things.
Alrighty, Ashley, where can they find you?
For me, all of my social media is under Sostylash, and that's Sostylash. There's no E in style. And that's also my website. My website is sostylash.com. I cover everything fashion, beauty, lifestyle. The link to my website is in my Instagram bio, as well as the link for my Essence articles are there as well. If I ever write certain things and anybody wants to check it out, there's a Linktree link to everything that I've done.
Awesome. Now, guys, if you want to download more episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. I've had a collection of incredible conversations over the past 49 episodes, including with All-Star, not one, but two All-Stars that are on the season of Big Brother 21, Bailey Dayton and Nicole Anthony. I've also gotten some people from America's Got Talent and also from the Challenge. So head on to Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast. And also you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, including Jacob. It's Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, Jacob, JACOBELYACHAR. And on my YouTube, please subscribe, because you're going to see some incredible interviews, including the ones I did with the Clairvoyants, with Vicky Barbolak, with Anabolic Aliens founder Mike Rosa. So there is going to be, and plus this interview as well. So and also I got to mention and give a big shout out to Joss Mooney as well, because he did a fabulous interview with me, and it's one of my highest rated videos so far. So thank you so much, Joss. Now, to see all of my written work, head to jakes-shape.com for articles, interviews, and even my music reviews. And also, if you're missing out on AGT, head over to jakeshape.com right now, because I have recapped almost every single thing that's going on the 15th anniversary season. So once again, jakes-shape.com. Guys, I am so thrilled and beyond thrilled that not only have we remained friends for almost 3 years now, but also that you have taken time out of your schedules to help me celebrate my 50th milestone episode.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure being a part of this.
And congratulations on 50 episodes.
Yes, congrats. That's huge. That is major. I'm super proud of you, Jacob.
Very proud. Keep going. Keep doing it. You are just awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. And everyone, have a fantastic day. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.